Okay, we are already up to L3. We just got L4 left after this, and then we're testing again. We're flying through this unit. So we're still talking about triangle congruence. Again, in L2, we talked about that. If we know that all three sides and all three angles are congruent in two triangles, we can call these triangles congruent as well, because they're the exact same thing. Same sides, same angles, same thing. However, if we only have a little bit of information about a triangle, about two triangles, and what's congruent between them, we can actually still say that they are congruent even with just a little bit of information. There's a way to go about proving this, but just take my word for it so we can kind of move faster. There are 5 triangle congruence postulates, we call them, really fancy, that we can use to determine if two triangles are congruent. And only these 5, nothing else works. And again, we're not going to have all of the information, but we'll have enough to say that, yes, even though we don't know all 3 angles and all 3 sides are congruent, we can still say these two triangles are congruent. So, the first one, make sure you're copying this down because this is what the quiz is going to be on. We call this the side congruence postulate, or SSS, right? That's for side, SSS. So what that states, and again, have this copied down, is if we know that 3 sides of one triangle are congruent to 3 sides of another triangle, those 2 triangles are congruent. So even if we don't know that all 3 angles are also congruent, it's going to be a given that if I have, let's take a look here. I've got one side congruent to another side, congruent to another side. These are going to be congruent triangles. Now, again, we have to be careful how we state. We're going to practice our triangle congruence statements. Let's go ahead and let's name this first one triangle BAC. I can name it whatever I want, but I'm choosing BAC. So if we chose to name it BAC, go ahead and name the second one. It has to go in the right order, and here's how you do this. Notice that B to A has 1 marking. I'm going to put my 2 letters that border the 1 marking side. So actually, I'll help you through this one. B and A border the side that has 1 marking. So I need to put D and E next because those sides also border, those angles also border my side that has 1 angle here. So then I have to put F last. B to A to C, D to E to F. And we can see we did this correctly because AC has 2 markings and so does EF. We have to be very careful how we go about doing that. These need to line up. Let's go to our next one. Okay, so our next one is called the side angle side congruence postulate. Again, SAS, that's for side angle side. So go ahead and pause the video and copy this down. But it says that, again, if 2 sides of one triangle with an angle in between them. So this specifically has to be 2 sides, the angle has to go in between them where they touch. Are congruent to 2 sides of another triangle with the congruent angle in between, then these 2 triangles are congruent. So notice again, here's how we know this is side angle side. It goes in that order, side to angle to side. I have one side congruent, the angle is between them. I have another side congruent. Yes, that's how we can tell, side to angle to side. The angle, once more, has to be directly between them. So let's practice this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to name the first triangle. Let's name this triangle STR. Why not? Now be careful. My second triangle, now you're going to try, needs to be named in the same order. S is on the side with T that has 2 congruent symbols. T is the one that has the angle marked. So to start with, that'll give you a kind of hint here. If T is in the middle and T has the angle marked, that one has to go in the middle from the other triangle. Take a second and try and make sure you can get this triangle labeled correctly. So let's see. S to T is on my side that has two markings, so it's this one right here. That's going to be U to V because V is the side, the angle that has the marking, and so does T. Therefore, X has to be last. They have to go in the right order. Okay, now we have angle side angle congruence. So once again, ASA is what we call this, angle side angle. That's where those come from. Now this one says if two angles and the included side, here's what it means by included. Here's my two angles. Notice the side is bordered by those angles. Yeah, that's what we mean by included. It's like getting a hug from those two angles, right? Here's my angles and they're the side. That's how we know this is ASA, angle side angle. So if we have, again, two angles with a side in between them, congruent to two angles over here with a side in between them, we can say these triangles are congruent. So once again, we got to be careful. I'm going to go ahead and label this DEC. Look at the angle markings. They need to go in the same order for the angle triangle, for the other triangle. I went DEC. Look at the markings. What does the order need to be for the second triangle? Okay, so D has no markings, that's T. E has one marking, that's P. And then O has to go last. We need to get that accurate. It's very important we have that accurate, otherwise you're going to be missing lots of questions. Okay, the next one is angle, angle, side, or AAS. You can also call this SAA, or side. Angle, angle, it means the same thing. Angle, angle, side, side, angle, angle, same thing. So let's look at this. If two angles and a non-included side, so notice here on this one, my angles are not giving my side a hug. It's not included. They're like, go to the outside, outsider. Angle 1 and angle 2, yep, are not including this side. So this is different now than ASA. It goes angle, angle, side. That's how we know this is AAS, not ASA. Okay, and once again, let's practice our congruent statements. I'm going to try to call this one, let's go BCA. Go ahead and write the name of the next triangle if I'm choosing to name that one BCA. Okay, so B has two markings. I need to put G first. C has no markings. I need to put H next. And then therefore, J goes last. J has one marking, A has one marking. That goes in the correct order. Okay, hypotenuse leg is the last one. So you're like, whoa, this is new. We've had sides and angles, and now we say hypotenuse leg. Now, we haven't talked about this yet, but you've learned it in earlier classes, either in freshman year or middle school, that in a right triangle, the longest side across from the right angle, notice here's my right angle, across from it, we call that the hypotenuse. That's H for hypotenuse. So notice on these triangles here, here's my right angle, across from it is marked. That's the hypotenuse. And what we call a leg. We call the sides of a right triangle that are not the hypotenuse, we call those legs. So we have the hypotenuse marked and a leg marked. Even though this is only two sides marked, with this right angle, we know that these two are going to be congruent. So again, this is hypotenuse leg. Hypotenuse leg only works if you see a little box. If you do not see a little box for a right angle, you can't use hypotenuse leg. And let's practice naming these. I'm gonna go ahead and go OMP. Name the second one. Hopefully you're getting this down. O to M, the right angle, to P. Go ahead and try this. Okay, so if O is bordered by the side that has one marking and the side that has two markings, I need to choose the angle over here that is bordered by the side that has one marking and the side that has two markings. That is S. And then I have M next, which is my right angle, so that means W is going to go next, and then H. So those are the 5 postulates. You need to have them copied down to be ready for our quiz tomorrow. But there's one more thing I want to say. This is not a postulate. Angle, side, side. Now, if you think about this, if we wrote an acronym, we shorten this would be ASS, right? If you see yourself writing ASS, it's not a postulate. If you go, oh, that's, yeah, angle, side, side. Wait, that's ASS, not a postulate. Not because it spells a bad word, which it does, but conveniently for me as a math teacher who teaches high school students, it doesn't work mathematically. It's not enough information to prove these triangles are congruent. So if you see angle, side, side, that is not a postulate. If we saw this picture, what we would say is these triangles are not congruent. We don't have enough information. It's just these 5 in these specific orders.